going on, fam? What is going on? Please take your time and get your libations and everything else you may or may not need in this episode of Breaking Brown. Please, before we get started, as we always do, let's take care of a little housekeeping, fam. Let's hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button, please do that for me. It costs you no money, a little bit of time. Just hit that like button for me. I would appreciate it. It helps with all the algorithm stuff and everything we're trying to do here. And again, that's one thing you can do that will cost you absolutely nothing. So please do that for me. Also, fam, please, share this with your friends, share this with your groups. Make sure you sub. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for me. I would appreciate it. What else do we have to do in terms of housekeeping? Oh, let's not forget, fam, on the 21st of March, that is a Thursday, so there will be a Monday show, a Wednesday show, and there will also be a Thursday show, same time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please take care of that. This is American slavery, American freedom. So everybody, please, let's get on that. If you haven't gotten the book, like I said, this is March. We're still in January. So you still have time. You still have time to get all of that together. Fam. So, let me just say this. Before I get into it, fam, hit that bell. If you haven't hit that bell that lets you know when we going on. And since I'm a little bit late getting in here today, I will truncate this and make it as important because I threw most of the old show away because I was traveling. I was coming back from somewhere. I had a meeting somewhere. And so I didn't see. So y'all have to forgive me. I'm a little disheveled. But I didn't see the whole Kamala Harris thing. I didn't see where she announced. I knew the announcement. We already talked about when it was going to happen. MLK. We already talked about all of that. So I'm thinking we already addressed most of this, right? We already addressed what happened. We already addressed the gist of this. I got a whole nother show planned around something else I want to talk about. But I have to address some of this that I saw, family. I have to address some of this that I saw. It is absolutely inexcusable. And let me for those of you, I know everybody busy, but this is Kamala Harris. That's why I'm here, because I know you busy. I try to help everybody out with the political education. But Kamala Harris enters 2020 presidential race, right? And so I knew that. And so somebody, and shout out to the fam in my inbox who sent me this. I think Charlie sent me this, but yeah, like a little while ago. And I figure out where she did it. Well, Kamala Harris, she had a press conference, right? She had a press conference or whatever, announcing her little thing. And then I see this. This is what I see. During a news conference at Howard University, hours after her announcements, she said the core issue of her campaign is the people. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can we get any more nebulous? For lack of a better word, can we get any more nebulous than you telling me your campaign is about, quote unquote, the people? Can we get any more nebulous than that? What does that mean, Kamala? What are you going to do for the people? But then I get to this next line, right? Now understand, you're a graduate of Howard University. Let's put that out there on the table. But here is the issue. The issue is this kind of thing where people want to use HBCUs as this kind of, look at the date. The issue is people want to use HBCUs as some type of backdrop for whatever they're doing. But this is a race school. HBCUs are historically black colleges. And universities. They were created for a very specific reason. But what you want to do, you want to run in there and use it as a backdrop for your campaign, but you're not saying anything about the people who are at that school. Howard University ain't got no money. We saw the trustee do that whole letter talking about ringing the alarm bells about Howard University. Y'all remember that? We had a whole show we talking about the trustee and ringing all the alarm bells and all the problems that Howard University is having with money and HBCUs are having with money. You didn't go there to talk about money. And I understand HBCUs is kind of a problem. You don't want to tell a sitting senator that they can't come. But we got to start considering that because we broke anyway and you in there and what have you done? Like it's going to have to be a litmus test. What have you done to effect getting us more federal dollars before you run up in here and want to use us for a backdrop? But not only that, if you're going to go to a HBCU, you're going to have to be talking about what is best for the people in that school. If you want to just do a regular raceless kind of candidacy, if that's what you want to do, then you can't do that at an HBCU. We have a very specific charge, Kamala. You should know that. I know you Indian Canadian and you just went to HBCU to wash yourself full of American DOS-ness, Negro-ness to fall down like manna upon your head. But that's not what that is for. You went there, and here's the quote when they ask you specifically about race in this article, this Kamala Harris. If you want to look it up, look up this Kamala Harris 2020 presidential race. Look at this. Here's how she answered basically what is a race question. When people wake up in the middle of the night, whether it be a mom in Compton or a mom in Kentucky, she's waking up having the same concerns. First of all, that's a lie. Harris said about how she's going to be able to raise those babies, how she's going to be able to pay the rent at the end of the month, how she's going to be able to retire with dignity. Okay, now listen, this is a problem. You understand that you went to a HBCU that happens to be your alma mater to make a raceless speech. Listen, if you want to talk about all the people, then just go make your speech in the middle of Kentucky. Make your speech in the middle of Kansas. Make your speech in the middle of a mixed community. Make your speech in the middle of, I don't know what's mixed now. Is Brooklyn mixed or you're the senator from California. Go make your speech in one of those mixed areas or communities if you want to have that speech. But you can't give us the symbolism. Here we go again with this con. You can't give us the symbolism of Howard University as your backdrop. We're not your tokens. We're not your trinkets. We're not your toys. We are not to be played with. You cannot use us as the backdrop, but then when somebody asks you about race, you don't even do the Cory Booker thing and be like, there is a racial wealth gap and I'm going to close it with some class-specific stuff. I'm going to do a little beta switch on you. I'm a trick. I'm a magician. You don't even do that. You just say, well, a mama in Kentucky got the same concerns as a mama in Flint or a mama in Detroit. So I'm going, one boat lifts all ships. Happy Howard University Day. No, that's not, this sounds very, very, very familiar. When's the last time Breaking Brown Family? When did I hear this last? This whole thing of a raceless candidate with melanin going to a HBCU to make this kind of speech. I've heard that before, fam. When did I hear that? When did I hear that at last? I'm looking at the chat. Chat, when did I hear that last? When did I hear that, chat? You're right. It was Obama. Obama to new grads. This was at Morehouse with Obama. No time for excuses. Now, first of all, let me just say this. And I said this at the time. There is no way that any commencement speaker, because Obama was there for commencement. There's no way any commencement speaker ever would have been allowed to come there and not celebrate those young black men who were making it out. You don't get to tell me there are no excuses, Obama, because those black men there, for the most part, didn't have a white mama and didn't have inheritance from white grandparents. You don't get to tell us anything. They didn't have a Kenyan daddy. They know there are no excuses. That's why they're there in that seat. You don't tell graduates there are no excuses. That is disrespectful, and you don't have the right to do that. You don't come from that kind of stock. And I think that's something that we have to begin to understand. We come from real strong stock. When people come from weak stock, you don't get to tell people from strong stock how to do. I'm not saying you ain't this, you ain't that. I'm just saying you ain't got no sharecroppers in there. Your mama was white, your daddy was Kenyan. That's not sharecropper stock. I'm just saying it's not my stock. I'm just trying to tell you who you are in comparison to who I am, and you a little bit weaker. So like if the milk's a little bit weaker, if your coffee ain't real strong, wrong, it's not going to be real caffeinated. So you don't get to tell me how to caffeinate my coffee. You don't get to tell me how to do that, Obama. You don't get to tell me that. Like, wow. Listen, while you were traveling with your mama in Indonesia and out there in Hawaii under a coconut tree or whatever, palm tree, whatever you was doing when you was doing it, right? When you was doing all that, a lot of these black guys had very different lives, very different upbringings, very, much worse struggles. You wouldn't have went to Stanford and said that. You wouldn't have went to Harvard and said there. No, you wouldn't have went nowhere else but an HBCU, because that wasn't for us. You was signaling into somebody else. And so here we have it again. Miss Kamala want to try the same thing all over again, except that she's not as good of a politician. Did you all, that's also what was said to me. Something that she basically said, where they asked her, well, how do you define yourself? And she said, it was so weird and so awkward, and you're not confident in yourself. I can tell you that just as another person, not even woman to woman. I can tell you that as another person, you're not comfortable within yourself. I don't know whether you know that, but just have you read my book? Hey. That's not how you answer that question. Just answer the question. How do you define yourself? How do you define yourself? It's not about how we read your book. Screw your book. We know why you wrote that book. You wrote that book for the same reason Obama wrote Dream from My Father and all that other stuff. Because y'all all knew y'all were going to run. You knew you were going to run president when you came to Howard. And you knew you needed some American black capital. That's why you did it. So we know why you wrote the book too, Kamala. How do you define yourself? Well, I have defined myself as a proud American. What? Well, that's nice. That's great. Okay, but why are you at Howard University then? That's not just a proud American school. It's a lot more that goes in that school that defines who we are and defines our struggle. So what I'm telling you is that Kamala isn't even smart enough to know that you can't just follow the Obama framework anymore. You're going to have to do something else with yourself. You're going to do something else with your life. And when I see that, it makes me think of so much other stuff. When I see Kamala do that, you have to understand. See, one of the conversations that we've had on this show is about Kamala and her lineage, right? And how her lineage is Indian and Jamaican. It's not American DOS. This is not American descendant of slave. We're not talking about a native black woman here. We're talking about a person whose heritage is Jamaican and Indian. But inside of that, we didn't even have a conversation, not a long conversation, about how her policies or how her posturing has impacted us. So whether or not you're a part of our tribe or not, we didn't even talk about what Kamala, like how University, and you act like then you try to disabuse yourself for the fact that firefighters and these black firefighters were fighting fires for $1 an hour or something like that, something ridiculously low, and then you was like, I disabuse myself of what my office is doing. I don't know. I don't like it. I tell you that. I tell you that right now. I don't like it. It's gotta. But once you there, then you do it. Well, listen, we can't talk about that right now. Only thing we're gonna talk about is that I don't like it. And something gonna have to be done about it. Kamala, what did you do? The buck stop with you? Because everybody said the buck stopped with Trump. Did the buck stop with you? We can't talk about that right now, but I don't like the fact it harkens back to a whole bunch of stuff. It harkens back to the people working on the chain gang, and I don't like it. Like you have nothing like you disabuse something if you didn't own it. That's like buying an ugly car and being like, I never wanted a Pinto. I never did. I never cared for it. And I don't even know why it's in my driveway. I had more money than that. I could have got a Focus. Kamala, what are you talking about? So I think what we have to do, even when you take her out of that, you have to ask the question, especially after we found out Obama's whole cabinet was appointed by Citibank. You have to ask, Kamala, how did Mnuchin get out of there? All that fraud we found out. He's now what, Treasury Secretary for Trump? Like he wouldn't be there. You want to talk all this trash about Trump, but he got people there who wouldn't be there had it not been for you and your failure to prosecute. Had it not been for you dropping the ball intentionally. Right? Now you'll come to me, like I said the other week, and say, well, me and Cory Booker and them, we did a bill on lynching, and Tim Scott, when we did a bill on lynching, and we're going to stop lynchings. Well, the horse is already out the gate. The whole point of lynching was to keep black people off the board and in place. Y'all are down here. You're not full citizens. You're the bottom caste. You're not going to get no wealth. And if you come get some wealth, we going to come take it, because that's what we can do. We good old white boys, and we wear hoods, and we'll come take everything you got, and we'll string you up and hang you from a tree. That's what happened. And it happened, to the point to where we didn't have nothing, and we did get taken off the board. Even when you look at New Deal policies and all that kind of stuff, all that was how it was administered by Dixiecrats. That's what happened. So what happened was, effectively, we were locked out. You can't come back after we locked out and say, I passed a bill to keep us from being locked out. That's like locking the gate after all the cows got out. All the cows is out. We don't know what it is. Well, I think I should get an award for locking the gate. Where's my award for locking the gate? Well, the cows is gone. The gate ain't worth too much if the cows is gone. The whole point of the gate was to keep the cows in. Since the cows is gone, it don't make no difference, Kamala. The whole point of the whole point of lynching was to make black people, American DOS in this country, a bottom caste. That was effective. And that's why you see white people with nearly all the wealth. That was effective. Whether who like it or not, it was an effective mechanism for cementing American DOS people at the bottom and white people at the top. Now that that's over with, it don't do no good to come back now and be like, well, I passed an anti-lynching bill. Okay. What? Okay, what you want? You want a cookie? What we need now is something, redistribution, reparations for the anti-lynching bill that we didn't get back then, or that was not effectuated. Because you can have a bill. We had a lot of bills. Even we had Woodrow Wilson with the anti-lynching stuff going on. We had him, but that didn't effectively stop or end lynchings. And I don't even think you would have did it. Kamala, you out there putting people out there to fight fires now. Black people out there to fight fires. Child, when you had the power to do anything real in terms of sentences, what did you do? You started locking up parents whose kids skipped school. And we're going to talk about Martin Luther King today. Let's talk about one thing that he understood. Martin Luther King understood that everything was, that when we talked about life and when we talked about suffering in this country, one of the things that he understood was that, well, let me just bring this up for you while I'm talking. A social movement that only moves people is merely a revolt. A movement that changes both people and institutions is a revolution. Let me tell you something. If we're going to have some rules, in this thing for going forward, one of the rules needs to be, don't vote for somebody who just wants to change people or change individuals and doesn't want to change institutions. Institutions have to be remade and remodeled. And we can all criticize King. I have my own criticisms of King, but that's a given, because he came around during a time where he didn't have the data that I have or the data that Tone Talks have, so he didn't know what we know now. So that's a given that we're going to always use the people that came before us as milestones. But what he understood is that, listen, King understood that you're going to have to change institutions if you want our lives to be better. You're going to have to overhaul institutions. And y'all going to have to stop looking at King or anybody else as a sacred cow. Part of the reason that they're here was just not to advance who we are, but they live so that we could learn from them and say, okay, that didn't work quite as well as I thought it would. So we're going to switch that up. We're going to move that around a little bit. We're going to move that. It's not been so we can, it's so many stagnant thinkers out there. And I'm thinking of some of y'all, and some of y'all know who I'm talking to. You know exactly who I'm talking to. Now, we got a lot of forward thinkers. I've quoted a lot of good American DOS academics out there who have done very good work. But some of y'all are dog tired in terms of what you do. And all y'all do all day is quote King, or quote Malcolm X, or quote Garvey, or quote just lazy. The whole point of this whole thing is to have some kind of political imagination. It's not just so you can just quote somebody. You're supposed to be thinking of something for yourself, dum-dum. Hello, dum-dum. Do y'all remember that cartoon character from the Flintstones? What was it? Hello, dum-dum. Hello, dum-dum. You're supposed to be thinking of something for ourselves. You're supposed to be taking that thing that was given to you. Because what people don't understand about King enough is that he was not just a theologian or just a preacher. He was actually a political philosopher. And so you have to take what he gave and you have to, gazoo. You have to take what he said and try to remake it and try to make it fit where it fits here today. I'm tired of y'all on my timeline who just quote and just repeat. Don't let these people get in your way who are just good at regurgitating. There are a lot of people in our community who are very good at word salad and regurgitation, but have absolutely no political imagination. They just repeat everything somebody said in 1819, 1919, 1964, 1965, and so said this. You are not a thinker. A thinker is not a person who just regurgitates. I remember I got into it with somebody and the only thing they could say is, well, Yvette, everything you're saying is not in the black radical tradition. Well, I hope not. I hope I'm really starting my own tradition. I hope I'm adding to something that builds on all traditions in the black community. I really hope I'm doing that. I hope I'm just not, I hope I'm not like you, a non-thinking person who just exists to be in a circle of people who make them feel special. Sitting around the black radical nationalism campfire. No, that's not who I am, and I don't need anything you got to give. I don't need your validation. I don't require it. But all of that got me to thinking about something, because one of the things that I see in terms of like when we think about all the people who came before us, what we think about, or what I think about, I can't speak for anybody else. But one of the things that I think about Trump, and I think about, I can't even have a conversation with anybody without they saying, don't know Yvette, I can't do that right now. Trump is in office. When Trump gets out of office, then we can have a conversation. But right now, I cannot have a conversation because Trump is in there. And I think to myself, that's kind of odd. For lack of a better word, that's really kind of odd that you can't even have a conversation because Trump is in office and he's the worst thing that ever happened to America. You just everything's on fire. And so I wanted to bring up a comparison to not a president, but to a person who tried very hard to become president and basically failed. And I wanted to kind of bring that to bear and kind of have a discussion about memory matters. I say data matters. I say lineage matters. One of the things that we have to add to that on this MLK Day is that memory matters, and how we remember matters, and who decided how we remember matters, and how we conform to how other people think that we should remember versus how we remember what really happened. That all matters. Right? I remember a time in the collective memory when we saw this. The world has changed. This was a Business Insider article who had like all of these headlines, because this is also like the anniversary of the Obama first inauguration. Ain't that something? And this is what we saw. Mr. President, the world has changed. And it built in us this idea that something was changing that wasn't changing at all. And it built into us this idea that no, these people, they gonna hook Obama. Yvette, you just don't understand politics. Obama's gonna hook us up in the second term. America's being remade. Let the remaking of America begin. Even the Guardian got caught up in it. We all did. I think I did too, until I saw his inauguration speech. That was the beginning of the end for me, because that speech was garbage. It was hot trash. I don't care who says Obama's inauguration speech is good. Y'all crazy. That speech was trash. And when it was trash, I knew he was trash. But let me just say this. What I'm saying is that media is very good at basically projecting how you are going to understand and interpret and remember a moment, right? But something different happened with Trump. With Trump, like with Obama, it was kind of like nobody reported during the first term. Nobody reported during the first term of Obama. I mean, the kind of stuff that's been reported on Trump. Nobody reported the stuff that we now know about Citibank doing his cabinet and basically framing out who was going to be in his cabinet. We wouldn't have been excited if we had known that Citibank did that. We did that because we didn't know. So what's happening now is that we know stuff. But the stuff has always been there, even amongst Republicans. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Why would you say such a thing? Why would you say that it's always been there? I don't know that it's always been there. Well, we're going to talk about it because we always talk about it. Now, when we talk about John McCain, what we hear about John McCain all the time, and I just want to go down a little John McCain memory road, right? It says, and let's just understand this to understand McCain. And we're going to understand McCain's family too. But to understand it, I want to just put this out to you first. We have to understand the data about the creation of 13 million new white millionaires from 4.5 million white millionaires in 2015 to 18 million white millionaires in 2018 because of quantitative easing by Obama and his appointees. What Obama basically did was he took black wealth and gave it to white millionaires. Right? Now understand that that's not change, that's a continuum. And it's an exaggerated continuum. It sped it up. It sped it up. It gave more money to them quicker. And that's part of why you see this historic income inequality. They're not just going to have everything. They're going to have more and more and more. We're going to take everything, we're going to take a lot, not just from these black people on the bottom. We're going to take it from all of labor and give it to white people, especially white people at the top. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to give most of the money to the top 20 people who are, we're going to make more millionaires, and then we're going to make more money amongst the people who serve as millionaires. And guess what, Negro? That ain't you. So go on back to McCain. One thing you have to understand about him, as we're talking about MLK Day, Meghan McCain said her dad, he really regretted not voting for MLK Day. But it's funny, like, when you talk about memory, because I said memory matters. It's funny when you talk about memory, nobody talks about that. Everybody says, well, he said Obama wasn't a Muslim. Yvette, he said that. So, what's the problem? That's what we remember. He was just not as bad as Trump. He wasn't as bad as Trump. Yvette, are you saying he was as bad as Trump? Absolutely. And to the extent he wasn't, it's because he didn't really have that opportunity. In terms of the New York and money and real estate, his game was different. His daddy was different. His lineage was different. So that goes Papa McCain, right? Now understand that Papa McCain, that's John McCain, that's the junior from the senior, and they all McCain, John McCain. But that's John McCain's daddy. Admiral in the Navy, right? Hot shot, big shot, hot shot, big shot. Now this is his daddy. Hot shot, big shot, admiral to the all admiral. What you gonna think you gonna be if your daddy's an admiral and your daddy's dad's an admiral? And everybody in your family done served in the military and done got hooked up. They ain't little privates and stuff like the people we see in the military who are American DOS who are taking out poo and all kinds of stuff they've been made to do and beat back. No, they got hooked up. And allegedly, I said it, John McCain's daddy, like he was allegedly, he was an alcoholic, but whatever, you that don't matter. When you are McCain, you still an admiral, you still gonna do the thing. Right? You still gonna do the thing. Obama was supposed to turn the tide on all this, but he gave more white people money to become millionaires. He was supposed to turn the tide the other way, so we could become that and give us redistribution. But he didn't do that. He made them bigger and better and more able to to put the boot down on us, but he's off with the head of Virgin or whatever, doing what the airline and whatever, and they flying parachutes together, so he don't care. But this is John McCain's life. John McCain, this is, well, he doesn't rest in peace or whatever. So what I'm finna point to is that when you look at John McCain's life, and not only just his life, who he was, you see that like all this stuff about it. He had to now understand his father had his own problems, but understand, hold on to this, put a pin in it, and I'm coming back. Understand that two admirables, daddy, granddaddy. Hold on to that. We're gonna come back to it. But understand you allegedly call your wife the C word in front of reporters. Okay. Now I want you to imagine what an American DOS, what would have happened to an American DOS person who called their spouse that in front. And who does that? What kind of person uses that word, even in private, the C word, to a woman and calls her that because she said you getting a little thin around the top in terms of your hair? Y'all some awful people. Y'all some really awful people when y'all do stuff like that. Right? Oh, but understand, it wasn't just that, my friends. It wasn't just that, Breaking Brown family. Now listen to this. John McCain's grandparents were natives of Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas, and much of his ancestry was Southern. On both his mother's side and father's side, the McCain family patrilineal ancestral home in Mississippi's Carroll County, they ran a 2,000-acre plantation. The plantation had slaves. Before the American Civil War, some of whose descendants shared the surname and called themselves Black McCains. Now, hold on. One of the things that you see with the Black McCains, some of them say they go to the family reunion and the picnic, but they don't have any of the money and any of the true lineage or social capital that comes with that. When they asked John McCain about this early on, he initially said, well, he was initially in favor of the Confederate flag, then tried to come back on the straight shoot or straight train McCain or whatever that garbage was he used to ride on, talking about the straight train. What was the little stupid thing he did, the little con artist thing? What was the little thing he did? The little blue train McCain, or what was it, child? Anyway, he did all of this little goofy stuff, little stupid stuff, and what was it? This is bothering me that I can't remember the name of this little thing he did. This little straight train McCain, was it? What little thing he used to ride on? He used to go around and talk about the straight shooter express, straight talk express, or something like. Yes, thank you, fam. He used to be out there talking. Well, I didn't know about it, but I guess it makes sense considering my people fought in the Civil War and all that stuff. I guess it makes sense. The legacy of the McCain name. Now y'all don't want to talk about him, and y'all don't want to talk may he rest in peace or whatever, peace, whatever. Don't make me know. Never mind. Look, y'all don't want to talk about him. Y'all say, oh, but Trump is just the worst thing that ever happened. Wait a minute. If you look at this, these people was pretty. Not only were the McCains, like, here's the thing, allegedly, but here's the thing. How many planes did John McCain crash? Don't worry, I'll wait. It was at least 3 or 4. He got caught up in some wires somewhere and knocked all the lights out. Now, when you have a crash, they're supposed to be like, nah, you can't fly no more. But because his daddy and granddaddy hooked him up, it was good. He was all good. He went to all these little boarding schools, graduating the bottom of his class at every boarding school. Bottom of his class. Garbage thinker. Wanted to fight every time somebody said, you only here because of your daddy and your granddaddy, but it was the truth. But he wanted to fight every time, and he did fight. Hot-headed nitwit. But nobody ever said that about him. So what you're really watching with Trump is just an honesty that we have never gotten before. It's nothing different. It's just an honesty. Oh, you don't believe me? But no, Yvette. You don't understand. Like, McCain, he was different. He had integrity. Like, listen, John McCain, when that woman said that Obama was Muslim, he said that during that thing, he said, no, ma'am, he's not a Muslim. That was a public persona. But understand one thing. Please be slicker than people. Understand. That's what he said in his public persona. But sometimes you want your public persona to have an integrity, but your campaign don't have no integrity. So while you out there saying that, a study found that you depicted Obama in darker skin tone. Talk about being anti-black. If you want to really talk about being anti-black, let's talk about this. Why y'all darken Obama up like that? Why did McCain campaign do that? I mean, if we gonna have a real conversation, why y'all do that? But he was a good guy, right? He was a good guy. Yvette, you don't understand. He wasn't. Listen, when you talk about anti-blackness, you darken this man up to try to win a presidential election that you still didn't win. And y'all were throwing all kind of mud on each other. They said you had a little baby, but you a little half black baby that was yours, McCain. So it wasn't just you, but y'all are all been awful. So that's why when I look at it, I don't see no surprises. I don't see a whole bunch of difference. I had somebody on my page say, "Vet, we've never been, as American DOS people, we've never been treated with this kind of indignity. We've been slaves. We've been hung. What do you mean we've never been treated with this kind of indignity? Do you live here? Are you from here? Do you know anybody? Do you need something? You need some help? You need some milk? What you need?" And let's go back to these black McCains. The black McCains, they call themselves, join descendants of the white McCains in family reunions every 2 years in Teok, is that Teok community, where the plantation once stood. The senator never attended any of the reunions due to scheduling conflicts. That's, anytime somebody says scheduling, that's a lie. He said, but his brother Joe McCain attended the reunions in 2006 and 2008. One reunion photo shows a magazine open to an article on the senator's time as a prisoner in the Vietnam War. Listen, stop going to these family reunions. Listen, if people not going to let you in and let you have access to the wealth and the esteem of the family, don't just show up and be like, well, we making good and we all coming together. And don't nobody deserve us. Like if you're not going, when last time you been a fighter pilot? When last time you got hooked up by an admiral in the military? If you ain't got none of that stuff and the people in that family haven't hooked you up and made you part of that family, I mean a real part of making me a real part of a family includes money and an extension. It includes a line, it includes a cash, it includes capital. If you haven't done that for me, I ain't coming to your family. You can keep your tasteless chicken. I don't need it. I don't know what's wrong with us be showing up. Be showing up to family reunion. And I don't know what's wrong with us. Why in the world we show up to a family reunion and ain't nobody giving us nothing? They're just using us to show like, see, the ex-slaves ain't mad no more. I don't know why y'all mad. I don't know why y'all upset. And understand that the person who did all this didn't vote for the King holiday, had slaves he said he didn't know about, even though his brother was at the thing, is getting an award from like Bernice King, ain't he? Ain't it? Is that what we doing? Is that what our memory looks like now? Let me pull it up good. Meghan McCain, my mother accepting the Trumpet of Conscience Award at the King Center Salute to Greatness Awards from Dr. Bernice King, Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter in Atlanta this Saturday. You have no idea how much I wish my father was here to receive this great honor. Bernice, what you doing? What you doing? This man he gonna talk about how he have regret for not voting for the holiday. No, but we don't understand. We gotta just throw people in the trash. It's not even the fact that he might have been a good candidate and he did good stuff for us and like he did really good stuff for us. He had really good policies for American DOS community, but early on he just wasn't right. No, he never really was a good person. Like, if you dig through this guy's history, he was not a good person. He left his wife. His wife had all these surgeries. She went, like, his first wife went from, like, being, like, a 5'8" 8'9" woman to like 5'3", 4" because of all the surgeries. And he went down and married somebody else. She thought the marriage was okay. And he just went down and all of a sudden it was just over with. Like all this stuff that you don't see. Like he don't care. He don't care. He's not like he was never an honorable person. And I didn't say this early on or even bring in the stuff I learned or knew because it was just like you couldn't say it. But somebody gotta say it. Because with this conversation is not just about Martin Luther King Day. This conversation is not just about Martin Luther King. This conversation is not just about Kamala Harris. It's not just about Obama. It's about how we remember people and what we understand and how we understand and how we interpret. We have problems. We really have problems. And I don't know how we gonna fix it. We think we the black McCains. How you fix that? And then we got the Kings over here talking border wall stuff. Well, MLK's son hits Pence for comparing Trump to his father. He was a bridge builder, not a wall builder. No, he was Martin Luther King Jr. was a person who put American DOS first in the forefront. And he was collective in a way that I wouldn't have been, but he put us square and center. It wasn't about not building a wall. Like, what are you talking about, little weird person? But all of y'all are trying to sell the goods or whatever's going on over there. I don't know what else is going on over there. It seems like y'all need to figure out something, get jobs. I don't know what y'all need to do, but you need to get your life right. Just insane. Just the insanity of it all. I mean, we can continue the McCain conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about we don't know what happened on that ship he was on. It looked like he might have allegedly fired on the ship. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Well, let's just, hold on. Some of those who were on it was called the Forrestal. And other persons familiar with the ordinance told me that because the rocket did not hit McCain's craft, only actions by the pilot could have caused any bomb to fall from McCain's Skyhawk. These sources who spoke under the condition that they not be publicly identified agree with each other that if any bomb fell from the McCain airplane, it was because of the actions that he took either in error or in panic. Wait a minute, I thought you was a war hero. I'm so confused. But here's the kicker. Whatever the circumstances of the fire's origins, McCain did not stay on deck to help fight the blaze, as the men around him did. With the firefighting crew virtually wiped out, men untrained in fighting fires had to pick up the fire hoses, rescue the wounded, or frantically throw bombs and even planes over the ship's side to prevent further tragedy. McCain left them behind and went down to the hangar bay level where he briefly helped the crew members heave some bombs over there. Afterward, he went to the pilot's ready room and watched the fire on the television monitor, hooked to a camera trained on the deck. McCain said, listen, I'm not going to be a part of all of what y'all got going on. I'm not going to be a part of this. Listen, I have an admiral daddy, and an admiral grand. I'm not finna be over here putting my life at risk. Now, I want to ask a question to you. What would have happened to a black McCain if they dropped bombs on accident and then ran away from the scene and said, oh, this is getting too touchy for me. I might hurt myself. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. I'm going to go over here and watch this from the TV. So not only did I make a mistake and I allegedly might have bombed some stuff I shouldn't have bombed because I got real scared. But then I ran over here, instead of helping it, I ran over here and I used the TV and I watched y'all do, the honorable thing. It's also alleged that when McCain was taken into custody in Vietnam after his plane got shot down, that he gave up all the goods where they had fired the shot, where they had bombed, where they were planning the bomb. He said, call my daddy. My daddy is an admiral. But that's always a card you can pull when your daddy's an admiral. You can say, my daddy's, please call my daddy. I really don't want to be. I really want to get out of here. Now, maybe you will and maybe you won't. But that's the card you can pull when you got a little social capital. Don't believe me? Look it up. And I had a podcast on my page that went over some of the stuff too a few weeks ago. So look that up too on my Facebook page. Look it all up. And it's all been a matter of public record. It's all been a matter. It's not like I'm just coming on here saying something that you ain't never heard before, that you shouldn't have heard before. So why does Meghan McCain get to say, I have decided to stick with love? What are you talking about? Like, see, the problem becomes like, because everybody perceives her father to have had integrity. No, you the same as Ivanka, honey. Your daddy, child. Y'all the same. You the same as Ivanka. Ain't no different. You thought it was different? You thought your daddy was different? Did you not read the papers? Did you not read the letters, the emails, and everything everybody said about your papa? All these people who hooked up your daddy. Read that article, Investigating John McCain's Tragedy at Sea. He done flew into all kind of stuff with them planes. Had all kind of problems with them planes, just flying and crashing and flying and crashing and flying and everybody wants to make, he escaped with his life. He was falling. He wasn't good at what he did. See, the problem is if you are a black McCain and you drop a bomb on accident, ain't no admiral to call. Ain't nobody to call. You just out there by yourself. You just out there by your lonesome doing some stuff. Ain't nobody you gonna call. Who you gonna call? How you gonna get back on another plane after you done crashed about 3 or 4 of them things? Wasting all kind of taxpayer money just crashing and crashing and crashing and crashing. And then you get honored by the king. Your daughter gets honored by the king family. She just said, well, it was a mistake. We don't kind of have no kind of standards. People can just tell us some stuff they did is a mistake. We all knew who Dr. King was at the time that they were trying to make his day a holiday. We all knew who he was, what he did, what his contribution was, what his standard was. That was the closest you could find to a saint. And your daddy didn't even want to vote for him. All this low down dirty stuff. Well, we all make mistakes and we all have problems. No, go on somewhere. And you're going to honor these people. Honoring these people like they did something. And so, as I just want to make sure I covered everything. But as I go to the end, like, we have to talk about, we have to have a conversation. We have to have a conversation. We have to have the same kind of conversation about Kamala. Ain't no standards. Like the stuff that how you gonna be a prosecutor like that and be like, well, I own my record? If you own it in the era of mass incarceration, that means you don't get us as your vote. Like, you don't get us. There's a lot out there about you, Kamala. You don't get us to stand with you for what? For what? And so what I want to say is I go forward. I said memory is important, but what memory kind of means that you can't go based on what somebody told you. You got to go based on what you know. And what you know is based on what you figured out, what you investigated and figured. See, everything I said on this show, everything I said, you can go and Google that yourself and you can figure it out. If I'm lying, I'm flying. You can go and put that in and figure all that stuff out for yourself. And you can but we have to do that. We can't follow these people in the media who tell us all this stuff. We can't even follow Bernice King. She got the McCain family up there. See, the thing is, if y'all didn't want to continue King's legacy, y'all just should have got jobs. See, if you want to continue King's legacy, you got to continue that. And that means that struggle and everything that comes with it. If you don't want to do that, then you just should have went out and found real work. You can't make it into this hodgepodge that just collects everything and makes everything okay. These McCain people are not okay with these black. Ask them when they gave the black McCain some money. When they hooked up the black McCain with some social capital, or I'm gonna find a way to make some of my people, some of these black McCains, some admiral. I'm gonna bring them on. One of them gonna be a general. I'm gonna make sure of it. When have you done that? When have you paid for somebody's education and you brought that person onto a stage? I don't get it, and that's why I believe something. If we talk about, like I talked about agreeing and disagreeing with King, listen. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I don't believe that. I believe the moral arc of the universe bends towards injustice. And if you don't stay vigilant, if you don't fight every day, if you don't have your information every day, then you will help that arc bend towards injustice that will hurt you. You have to be smarter. You have to be better. And I'm not talking about twice as hard to get more money. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in terms of just being a strategic thinker. I'm not talking no black respectability stuff. I'm talking about being strategic, because everybody around you is moving to put you in a position where they can inflict injustice on you. And if you don't know what's going on, if you're not thinking, if you're not moving in such a way to fight this battle, you're going to be in trouble. We going to be in trouble, because we're all part of the same collective. Whether or not you know it, that's not my thing, but we're all part of it. We're all a part of it. You got to understand that. And I don't believe anything bends towards justice. I think you bend it. I think you bend it. I think I bend it. I don't think anything naturally. And I think that comes from being a theologian. You have to believe in sort of hope. And like, no, I don't believe that. I believe in terms of, and I'm a Christian, but I don't believe that. I believe that we bend stuff. That's the bending of things in terms of morality is a part of the human struggle. And is a part of what we do here, regardless of whether or not we understand it. And we do that. And we have to become better at that. That's what I believe. And I can't, there's no other way for me to kind of put it. There's no other way for me to kind of help people understand it. Right? There's no other way that I can help people understand what I'm trying to say than to say, like, I don't believe that, because I it's almost like when people try to say, like, well, God's in control, acting like they like you don't think God moves through people. You don't think that's what's gonna happen too? You don't. Okay. Well, we're gonna find out. So I just want to bring up one image before I end this segment of the show, and just show you that it's not just me talking. Kamala said, I take full responsibility for decisions I made as a prosecutor. If you take full responsibility, she didn't say partial, she didn't say mistakes were made. She said, I take full responsibility for decisions that I made. What that means is that you can't run on King. You can run on your own. You can run on an agenda you set. But as a prosecutor, considering who King was, you don't even get to run on King. And it's just a shame that you don't know enough to know that today was not your day to announce. You cannot announce for the man, regardless of how I feel about it or how you feel about it, this pacifist who not only did this, but then went against Vietnam and all. You don't get to run. Do you understand? Do you know enough to know that you don't get to run on this man's legacy? That you shouldn't have shown up at Howard University to bogart a room so that you could do a press conference? You don't know enough to know? Like, how careerist do you have to be not to know that this isn't something that you can run on? Now, Kamala, do the work. Build your own agenda. Build your own self. Build your own brand. Stop stealing. Build something. Have some political imagination in terms of what you're going to do. Because let me tell you something. This dog that you're trying to use, this dog don't hunt no more. This dog, the stuff that you did for Obama, maybe if Obama had been successful for us in terms of uplifting American DOS America, maybe that would have worked. But it don't work no more, and you're too aloof, too slow, or whatever, or you just don't care enough. You think, well, that's stupid. Like, no, I don't think that dog hunts anymore. I pray that dog don't hunt no more. But I hope everybody understands dog don't hunt mean that don't work no more. I know it's a southern. It just occurred to me that's a southern slang. So, but fam, give me 4 or 5 minutes, set the phones up, and then we'll come back. I want to hear from you about today, King Day, Kamala. Even if you have something to add about McCain, let's hear about it. Let's have the conversation. Let's talk. we are about to go to the calls. I think we're about ready to go to the calls, fam. So let's see who we have up. We're gonna go straight to it. 617, what's going on?
What's going on, Yvette? It's Reggie from Boston.
What's going on, Reggie? How you been?
Oh, I've been good. Yo, listen, about Kamala, somebody said it on one of the last shows. They referred to her as Chameleon Harris. I feel like that was brilliant. So shout out to that caller, whoever you are.
Yeah, that was good.
As far as Kamala, I'm going to say this. I feel like you can't be pretty much Jeff Sessions in a dress and then turn around and try to ski-wee your way into the White House. It's really not going to work. Because in terms of policies and who she was putting away, who she went after, who she got running around fighting fires, like, tell me the difference between you and Jeff Sessions. It's like, it really makes me appreciate that, you know, we got somebody like, you know, the new DA, Rachel Rollins, you know, over here in Boston. That, you know, if you're going to put anybody in law enforcement, somebody with that kind of, you know, progressive platform, that's what I'm looking for. And, you know, I just really think Kamala, she's not built for this. She's not ready. Like, she ain't even going to survive the Willie Brown jokes. I mean, you see all this, like all the memes, all the articles, all the critiques. People are making extremely short work of this woman. I mean, I'm seeing
short work, Reggie. Short work. They making short work.
Short work. Like, she's not gonna make it. I mean, I'm seeing black folks of all kind of stripes coming for this woman. You got the B1 folks, the intersectionals, the hoteps, the Marxists, the Pan-Africans. Nobody is trying to hear Kamala.
Nobody.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this and coming so fast. And even if, you know, by some miracle she made it through the primaries, like, Donald Trump is just going to eat her alive.
Yeah.
Like, she ain't ready for that debate stage.
But you know what? You know what, Reg? You know what, too? Like, I want to say two things, and I want to get your feedback. One of the things I want to say is I remember they had her cross-examining Jeff Sessions as if she was somehow, like, so much different. Remember when he was getting confirmed or whatever, and they had her doing her thing or whatever, and they were like, oh my God, Kamala's doing so wonderful. She's really taking him to task. And I was like, these people is the same in most ways except for, like, immigration. They the same. What are you talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that really got by a lot of people. I think the Republicans are just kind of quietly loading up the clip. And then super PACs are just gonna unload.
Yeah. Like,
she's gonna be done. They're gonna kick it off to the Russians. The Russians gonna do their thing. I mean, she's done. But you know, I really think that she'll implode on her own, and I really think she's gonna implode because, you know, how you alluded to earlier, she figured that she would ride the Obama train to 2020. You know, I'm gonna just go to Howard. I'm gonna sit around Oakland. I'm gonna run around with the AKAs. I'm gonna tell you how much I like Fife Dog and all of this nonsense and just skate. But, you know, black people shifted and we shifted quickly, and I don't think she can, you know, ride that curve. She's gonna derail, and it's gonna be over.
But you know,
she's gonna fall.
I think she might. I think you might be right, but I see the problem. You know what it is? I don't think she has enough connection to black people to know that we shifted, right? So, like, if you're not, like, connected to, like, the black community, I mean, when I say that, I mean American DOS community in some way. Like, how would you even know that we shifted? Like, there's no way for you to know that you just don't fit, that you're not fitting us anymore. You don't fit into none of our squares. We got a lot of little squares, from the black nationalists to the black leftists to the black liberals. Like, you don't fit most of the squares. But see, since you're not here, you're like a little circle trying to put yourself into a square. But since you're not here, like, since you're not with us and around us regularly, you don't really know that you don't fit. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean, and I'll just end on this. It's going to be hilarious when she goes to South Carolina, and then cameras is rolling, and
That's first, right? That's
she's
first.
running around with the AME church. You know, she already, look crazy, like, in the pulpit trying to preach, looking. Oh my God, it's going to be a time. I'm just telling this, like, look, I mean, you got the white husband. Try them out. Go on to Iowa, go on to New Hampshire.
But you remember what Alexander said, Reggie? You remember what Alexander said, Reggie? Like, the white husband's only gonna show up in places where she needs him. I wonder if we're gonna see him out in South Carolina.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all I got to say, man. This gonna be fun to watch.
All right, I appreciate you, Reggie, as always. I appreciate you calling in. Yeah, I think this is gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be some stuff. It's gonna be some madness. It's gonna be some madness. And the thing is, like, when you read that, what she said, when the dude asked her during the press conference, like, well, how do you define yourself? Well, did you read my book? Oh my God, who says that? You don't know enough to know. Like, you don't say that. You just tell the reporter what the thing is in the book that they should have read. You just tell them who you are. They're asking how you define yourself. You're announcing a run for president. Answer the questions. Don't be lazy. Like, understand who you are and give that to people. If you need a ghostwriter to kind of interpret who you are, you ain't ready. So I'm going now to 786. 786, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Yvette? This is Demetrius from Lake Mary.
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing good. So, as far as the Kamala Harris thing, I spent a lot of time on Facebook today, and I was just going through different threads, different posts, like CNN, MSNBC, Huffington Post, The Hill. And I was just going through the conversations in the threads, and I can tell you, like, the DOF community, from what I'm seeing, of course, you have a lot of people that are crazy about Kamala, but you have a lot of DOF people, based on what I read in the threads, who are just not buying her. And I think the DOF community is really, I think their political IQ has really gone up since the Obama era. And I even had a conversation, I'm not DOS, by the way, but I had a conversation with my cousin. And, she's a feminist, a self-proclaimed feminist, and, the idea of a woman president, she's really excited about it, especially a black,
I see, the idea appeals to her, basically.
Yeah, and especially a black female president. And, talking to her today, and on her Facebook thread and with her friends, and even they're not buying the whole Kamala Harris thing. Even they're looking at her real suspicious. When they consider the fact, the record and the history she had as an attorney general in California. So I guess and also one more thing I want to add is I even watching TV today. I'm seeing on CNN and MSNBC, they're talking about the whole day, or a big chunk of the day, they were talking about Kamala Harris's, her path as an attorney general and her record on criminal justice reform, and saying how there were inconsistencies and there was a lot of controversy, and saying how members of her own party have even picked a bone with her, considering her record on criminal justice. So I think a lot of people are just not buying it. And I think the DOS's community's IQ is really, they've become really astute. And so I'm saying that the message that people like you and Antonio, the message you guys bring, it's really getting through. And from the things I've seen today, it was really proof of that. So, I would just say keep up the good work, and the message is getting through.
I appreciate that, fam.
I'll end it with that.
Your mouth to God's ears, fam. I hope so. Because everybody, the whole intention of everybody is to kind of play us for fools. And politics. And I've said this before, but please take this away. If you take notes or whatever, politics is an exchange. Politics is not something that you do because you like the person ski weeding. Politics is not that. Politics is an exchange. I give you my vote. You give me a set of policies that I enjoy and are good for my family or good for my group. It's an exchange. It's not a popularity contest. It's an exchange. So when you deal with a politician, what I want you to ask yourself is, what am I getting in exchange for voting for this politician? What are the policy priorities that they have that are beneficial to my community on a national level and on a specific level in terms of what may be important to your specific district? You have to ask yourself that. So I'm coming to 770. 770, I'm coming to you now. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Devontae from
What's going on,
Atlanta, Georgia. How
Devontae?
you doing?
Pretty good. How about
Okay.
yourself?
Excellent. All is well. I called a few months ago. I was a guy that got locked up for 6 months for breaking into my own house.
I recall.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. But I wanted to call today and say, I just want to give you another shout out and just say thank you again, because, of course, I've been listening to you since I got out.
Oh, appreciate
And
it.
I just want to say you're really educating me. You know, I'm getting stronger and stronger with my debating skills. Like today, I
There
ran
you
into
go.
a Trump supporter. Yeah, I'm getting fight with him. I'm getting real good with him.
That's what you
Yeah,
want.
because I'm just going to give a little brief synopsis. I'm going to keep it concise. But, you know, I just asked him about, you know, being a Trump supporter. Like, how do you feel? What policies do you think he really did that supported black people? And he really couldn't say anything. The most he said was the First Step Act and how there was criminal justice reform and yada, yada, yada. So, of course, I went home and researched it. And I went point by point, read through. I went on the Congress.gov website, looked it up.
There you go.
And there was nothing in there specifically for black people. And I even let him know, I said, at the most, it's just a glorified home imprisonment where you just get to stay at home at most.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I was like, it's really nothing. So we kept going back and forth all day today. I had to cut him off. I said, my favorite show, Yvette, is on right now. So I
That's what you doing. Get him, fam. Get him. That's what you do. Tell him to come on in.
I said, hopefully you gonna watch it with me, but I can't keep talking with you because you ain't talking about nothing right now.
Yeah,
anyway.
we gotta go be with the family right now. I got family meeting up right now. I can't talk to you.
I gotta go get my family. You know, I got my libations and everything.
That's what you do. Get them lined up.
But I left him with this note. Yeah, I left him. I just said, whoever you vote for, whether you're Democrat or Republican or whatever it is, it was crazy because he just came like this built-in ready argument. Like he was ready to come for me. Like, well, you're black, so you voted for Democrats and you voted for Obama. You think Obama was amazing? I was like, whoa, hold up.
A lot of assumptions in there.
Don't tell me what I think about Obama. If anything, I can tell you a lot more about Obama that you don't know. But I mainly just left him off of just saying that whoever that is in office, I'm not saying that Trump is a racist, but I do say he is a white supremacist. And if he is in office, it's up to us to advocate for DOS people and that he implement policies to improve our lives, and not just in specific policies for us. So if it's something for criminal justice reform, it has to be something that says black people, DOS, are going to get X, Y, and Z, and not just some random, if you're older or have mental illness, then you're eligible to be at staying home for your prison sentence. I said that's not good enough anymore. This is 2019. We need more than just some blanket thing that doesn't really benefit us.
Yeah, especially considering this all a part of a line. I can trace all that stuff back to slavery. I can draw a line. That's one of my favorite things to say. I can draw a line.
Right.
If I can draw a line, that's a problem. If I can draw a line, that should be a problem for my policymakers. If I can draw a line, and these people be making money off the people who stay at home. You making people pay $300, $400, $500 a month for staying at home with a little ankle thing on. They gotta run on and plug it in and stuff. Come on, man, that's too much.
That is too much. That's way too much. And but the last thing I said, because we was texting too, and I left. He said something in regards to this fact. Well, black people, we just gotta stop blaming. You know, he's one of them do for selfers. Black people, we can't keep blaming white people for what happened to us. It's up to us to do stuff and make a change. You can blame them for 400 years of slavery, I guess, but I choose not to. So of course, I hit him back with, I believe it was either you, Tone, or Alexander the Great. One of you guys said that. If I know it was you, Yvette. My bad. No, it was you who said it. You said if I take a knife and cut you,
I did say that.
If I cut you with a knife, it took me a second to inflict that wound on you, but it's gonna take days for you to heal.
It's gonna take weeks. You ever watch? You know, one of the things I did after I said, you ever take time to, like, after you hurt yourself and watch how long it takes to heal? It takes a long time. Like, if you cut yourself or you bang yourself up or you hit, like, your toe on the way to the bathroom at night, that joint takes a long time to heal. Like, your friend, like, I don't, like, what we're gonna have to do, fam, honestly, going forward, I understand what you're trying to do, and you had a really good debate today. But understand that if that person that you're talking to doesn't move, like, you've given them all the information. If they still stay stuck on stupid, like, you can't be around that person. They're just gonna drive you crazy. Like, understand that, like, I have no problem with, I have debated a bunch of different people from the left and the right. I have no problem with that. But understand, I'm not going to be debating you every day when you come back to me and say stupid stuff, because you just make my life hard. And the thing is, we should be excommunicating these people anyway, like, who just say stuff that don't make no sense. So I understand why you did it, and it sounds to me like you did a good job at it. But what I'm saying is that there's going to come a time, family, where we just can't keep, we're going to have the thinning of the herd. It's going to happen. Sorry. So thanks, fam.
Thank you so much, Yvette.
No, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everything you're trying to do. But understand that some of these people can't be saved, fam. Some of these people is not coming with us. Some of these people are going to get left behind. They limping on one leg, and then they got a shoulder that's off, and they got, well, why are you leaving me? Well, because you got all kinds of things going on. You can't think, you can't reason. You want to be a part of the Republicans, but you don't know why, and then you just want to blame black people, American DOS people, and then you want to throw it left and right, and you want to join forces with everybody just because, all kind of weird stuff. Listen. We gonna leave you over here. Now, find your own group, because this group is still in the herd, and you was not, you the weakest link. You got to go. All right, 310, I'm coming to you. 310, what's going on?
What up, Yvette?
What's going on, Tom?
If you could pull up the image of Kamala with her husband and Obama with Michelle, the little grid image.
I ain't got that one right now. I ain't got that one.
Okay, well, you got an image of Kamala with her husband?
Somewhere. We'll see.
So you got that. You can pull that up. All right. So, it's an interesting day because you have Kamala announcing that she's running for president. I think that I plan on having you on my show Friday, and we're going to have this discussion. I posted a video maybe an hour ago kind of laying the framework for the discussion, and you've done a wonderful job in the last few weeks talking about Kamala and giving context, but I don't know if everybody is really grasping the audacity of her announcing this at Howard University. I understand that Howard University is where Lyndon Johnson went to speak on civil rights and to announce, to really talk about the consequence of what black folks have went through, the consequence of being hobbled by change. And here you have a career prosecutor that's talking about immigration, using MLK Day and black folks as like a code to announce her run for president, because that's what you need, the 40 million blacks to actually get you in the box.
Yeah, you need that.
Because you don't have you don't have a track record. So, at least a track record that works for progressives. You got a track record that works for conservatives, putting people in prison. And I think for a lot of the discussion, we're going to get into it on Dash Radio on Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, so tune in. And this isn't just a matter of us as American descendants of slavery seeing Kamala and being like, I'm just not going to vote for her. This is a moment, a pivotal moment for you to challenge everything about identity. Because she gives us such a clear view that even Obama did. Obama had a white parent that was American. Obama had Michelle, and she was American DOS. It created a lot of murk. She has none of that, so now we're able to ask the question: how does being Jamaican, even if we accept that, make you more apt or able to run for president of America? How does it make you more black like me, more American DOS? And can't nobody answer it other than to say we all came on slave boats. Well, can I go to Jamaica and then just
get some of your family's property that came from the slave owner that your dad described, since we all sharing. We don't want to have this discussion, though. And for me, I guess I look at Obama, and I don't give Obama much credit, but I'm going to say this. When Obama announced, does everybody remember where he announced? He announced that he was running at Springfield, Illinois. The demographics in Springfield, I think, was 75% white. Obama didn't go down to the local ghetto and say, I'm going to find the most ghetto place in Chicago and announce here because I need the black vote. I think fundamentally with Kamala, you see so much signaling that it's almost like a gaudy piece of jewelry. Here you have her actually trying to take this to Howard. Why? Just announce at a regular place in California. Or announce on the border like Yvette said. You pushing for immigration?
Yeah.
See, I feel when I see all of this together, I can't help but come back to the picture that Yvette has up. And I challenge everybody here, like I did on my video, would you have voted for Obama if Obama had a white woman sitting next to him? You gotta just be honest with yourself and have some moral values here. You gotta have a straight conversation with yourself. Maybe you gotta look in the mirror. I didn't vote for him either time because I didn't believe. But I'm saying I didn't vote the other way either. I didn't vote Republican. But I didn't vote for Obama because I knew exactly what was coming down this pipe coming out of UCLA. But I'm asking you, as I get off the phone, tune in on Friday. We're gonna have a great spirited discussion and get in it.
And Antonio,
Obama, if that was a white woman.
And Antonio, to your point, he said Obama was evoking Lincoln. That's where he gave his House Divided speech against slavery 150 years earlier, though. So like it was a Lincoln kind of moment or whatever. I don't know. These people are so crazy. But yeah, like you're right, Springfield. But yeah. Woo!
Yeah, it's a totally different call. It's a call. See, like
it's a call to unity.
Plays a lot of identity, but I think Kamala is so confused. I don't know if everybody sees it yet. I don't know if everybody sees the consequence of all of this movement and issue and conflict, and she's not all in on anything. And so, like, she's a careerist, and so now we're seeing this careerist trying to use the lineage of my mama. My mama the same age as this lady. She ain't had no scientist for a mama, or no economist for a dad. Mm-hmm. What is this lady talking about? I take great offense that she's running and that we even allowing her to be called African American. Just call yourself what you rooted in: Indian, Canadian, Jamaican American, and see if you win. But don't come down to Howard and do it.
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna announce that you're gonna be full on for reparations. I mean that day. If she would have did that today, that would have been different. Am I wrong, Yvette?
No, you're right. If she did that, I'd have been like, I'm wrong. I have no problem being wrong. If she had come to Howard University today and said, I'm standing for reparations, I'd have been like, well, damn skippity, I've changed my stuff. I'm going. Me and Kamala on the same boat.
I have a $900 billion package that I want to present. That's what you got to do to announce at Howard. Everybody wants a solution. That's how you announce at Howard. If you're not going to do that, then do it outside in Springfield, Illinois. And I'm just saying to you, coming back to it, my thing is, ask yourself as we get off the phone, if Michelle Obama was a white woman with blonde hair sitting there instead, would this man have run for president and got your support? I'll leave it at that.
All right, Tom, appreciate it. And I think, the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand in terms of what Antonio is saying. What a lot of people don't understand is that if Kamala doesn't use American DOS, if she doesn't use like Black America and Howard, then that forces her to have an agenda. Like if you can't just use us and cloak yourself in us and go to Howard and make your speech and do all that stuff, then you have to have an agenda. Kind of cloaking yourself in us makes people kind of presume you have an agenda that you don't have. Right? And that's part of the problem. So I'm going to my next call. I'm going now to 501. 501, what's your name? What you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Rosa down in Arkansas, Nurse Mom before. I was calling in regards to this whole Kamala fiasco.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Can you speak up a little bit for me? Okay.
And is this better?
A little bit better, yes.
Okay. I said I was calling in regards to this entire fiasco with Kamala Harris.
Okay.
And I'm very involved with parent groups. In fact, I'm just a secretary on one of the parent groups down here in Arkansas.
Okay.
And a lot of the mothers, they're not having her, and that goes for black and white.
Okay.
They're not having it, mainly because of her stance when she was Attorney General in California. She had the audacity, like you said, she should have been down there at the border wall, giving her announcement.
Yeah.
But when she was in California as Attorney General, you know, she openly was proud of how she was locking up poor mothers and separating them from their children. But yet, she was happy, you know, she was just so upset, and it just irritated her soul that Trump is daring to separate these illegals and their children and their progeny at the border.
Them her people, though.
I don't like her.
Them her people. That's because them her people.
Yeah, those her people, because she's an immigrant her damn self. But also, when she was there in California, she was proud of it. She was putting these mothers in prison. She was holding them for days, charging them thousands of dollars in fines that they couldn't even pay, and they ultimately did end up in prison. But when she was taken to task about Steve Mnuchin and his corruption with One West Bank, she refused to do anything about that. She refused to do anything about that. And then she has the audacity to use the HBCU Howard and the AKAs as a strategic positioning to legitimize herself with black folks. Now, earlier today on one of the, I want to say it was CNN, I'm not sure, but I believe they referred to her, and it might have been Fox. They referred to her as a woman of color. She did not change that, and she's right. She's a woman of color. She's not black.
Yeah.
But Howard and the AKA's history is specific about who they represent, and that's black folks. They don't stand up and represent women or people of color. They are specific on who they are, and she's getting in on the colorism issue too. We have to throw that in. It's a colorism, and people are taking black folks for a ride because they've seen how we've done each other, and we have to admit that as black folks. We have to admit that colorism is also involved in her attempt to rise. I honestly don't think she's going to get the nomination. There are a lot of people who are, who are against her, and they're not going to stand with her. And
well, hold on a second before I let you go, Carla. Are you saying, Carla, that she might not have made AKA? Has she not been a light-skinned black woman to even be in a position to use that to run on American blackness? I'm asking the question.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
I'm definitely saying that. She's using that. She's using that to her advantage because, I mean, we know the reality. That's something we as a family, we do have to discuss that. And she's definitely using that. And her career is built on the slave labor of black and brown prisoners. We cannot forget that. We can't forget that. So she just harkens to who she really is at heart, and that's not a DOS.
Well, you said it. All right, Carla, you shooting straight today, ain't you?
All right, you have a good one, sis.
You too, fam. I appreciate you calling in. Carla shooting straight. Listen, y'all doing the reason she got in. You came in. And you just saw a lighter skinned black woman. Y'all didn't do no kind of background and what's going on, who she was, what her idea was. She fit a certain look. I would be very interested to hear from the AKAs during that period when y'all rushed her or whatever people call it. I don't know. I can't remember. My mind be bad sometimes. I just focus on politics. But I would be very curious to hear from some people who were in that line that accepted Kamala in terms of who she was and what your criteria was, and who else you accepted during that year. Were they all light skinned, or was it different? The caller put something out. I just want to know. Anyway, going to the next call. I'm going right now to 760. 760. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. I'm Marlon from Oceanside.
What's going on, Marlon? What's on your mind?
Well, I can bring you back to Denmark Vesey, those tragic mulattoes, which Kamala Harris is.
The mulattoes.
So she's basically one straddling, because that's all she's always been. And she has too much stuff against her to say, like, yo, I'm for anybody but the people that put me in office. And that's it with her. And then about McCain, I gotta give Tone a shout out because he had Chuck Collins.
If you all haven't seen the Antonio Moore had the guy who's the Oscar Mayer heir on his show the other day, Chuck Collins. So go check that out. Go check that out at Tone Talks YouTube. But go on, fam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the same thing. I was in the military for 12 years in the Marine Corps, and McCain's an officer. And anybody knows about officers that have any military experience, they all suck. And that doesn't surprise me. If any of that would happen, what he did, doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And that's really what I got to say about that. And I appreciate you guys, what you do, and you keep on coming with the facts. And basically, what I'm going to operate is I'm going to be like this. Where's the reparations? What's going to really do for stop locking this up? What we can do for my family? And if they can't answer one of those things, they're not allies. And I'm done with talking to them. Because I don't forgive and I don't forget.
There you go, fam. I appreciate you. Yeah, we ain't got no problems. But it's all I have decided what my stuff is. I have decided who I am, what my group is, and like, no, we ain't doing that no more. We're not doing none of that no more. Okay? And that's what the caller's basically saying. We're not playing games. I'm going right now to 757. 757, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Yvette Carnell?
What's going on? All this, what's going on? I know you got the business.
Look here. I tried to send you some stuff because I knew you'd go be on them. Kamala, if you listen to that 20 minutes she spent on C-SPAN about the 4-minute mark, the gentleman asked her about black people not voting in the same numbers that they did in 2016. And he said, what are you going to do to bring up the black vote? And her answer was, what I'm going to do for all Americans. I'm going to go around this country in 50 states and listen to everybody. Because we all want our children to not be able, I'm paraphrasing, not to be able to be shot by the police. We all have the same fear. Now, how many people in this country worry about their kids get shot? And how do you answer a question about black folks by talking about what you're going to do for everybody? When I tell you about that running from blackness, it should be an Olympic sport.
It should.
Another good one. You talked about McCain. I tried to send you some literature on him because actually he had between 10 and 14 legitimate accidents.
Is that many? I know he wrecked a good amount of planes.
Yeah, and that's in the naval record. And not only that, out of a class of about 899 people, he graduated like number 5 or 6 from the bottom.
Yeah.
Which is in the bottom 5% of the Naval Academy. But because his lineage is through admirals, he ended up going to the War College, which is normally reserved for the top third of graduates. So he got by with a little help from nepotism. Oh, then the other thing, I saw somebody put in there that Cindy McCain, his wife, was a Heinz air, but actually her dad was Hensley. I lived in Arizona at the time, and he was the beer magnate with Anheuser-Busch, one of the richest men in
multi-millionaire, but different
So
multi-millionaires. They got their multi-millionaires confused.
Yeah, and then, he dumped the wife that had the bad accident while he was POW. He dumped her and married into money so he could move on up in politics.
There you
so
go.
he was really a loud, no-count, Newt Gingrich type of guy. They all got their nastiness about him. But I want to talk about another thing, too.
Okay.
I believe Kamala and them were listening to a lot of Breaking Brown because her preemptive strike in that whole 20 minutes that she was talking, if you go back and listen to it, she tried to pawn off the stuff when she was Attorney General, saying that she takes full responsibility, but her office made those decisions without her knowledge.
So the buck don't stop with her, huh? The buck don't stop with her. The buck stops somewhere else.
Yeah, and look, I'm so happy when I hear callers like the young lady that just called in and talked to you about how people are standing against her because of her record. I think these people are learning to do their research, and I've been on with a lot of you people telling them, this is not a reactionary thing. We've done the homework, the background check, and what we're giving you is facts. And I have a saying in my Facebook page, and I get it on people when they keep on talking trash to me. Truth takes you where the evidence leads you, even if at first you don't want to go there. I don't care if you don't want to accept it. I'm just going to tell you what I believe to be the truth.
That's true.
So, again, keep on doing what you're doing, because you got to take down a few more of them. There's some more after Kamala.
Hey, you keep hooking us up with the information, Otis. We gonna be in there. You keep hooking us up with all the good juicy stuff, and we gonna be hanging in there. Good God Almighty. Ooh. She gonna say, like, understand something, people. Understand. Like, you gotta understand what kind of a little slimy move that is. Like you are a leader. Understand what leadership means. Understand that on this YouTube channel, the times that I have been mistaken, I have come back and said, you know what? Somebody said it was X. I said it was Y. I made a mistake. Because I'm the one here. Understand that she's AG California, wants to be your president and says that, well, my office did that. I don't really know. You are abdicating responsibility already. You are unfit to lead. Now, I'm not saying you're the only person. There's a lot of people. McCain wasn't fit to lead either. There's a lot of people who are unfit to lead, but you're among them. You're in good company. So I'm going to the call. This will probably be my last call unless it's short. 678, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Jacob calling from Detroit.
What's going on, Jacob?
And it's cold in the D.
Oh, it's always cold. It's always cold in Detroit.
It's negative 12 today, but we gonna be okay. A couple things, Yvette. First of all, I'm a subscriber. Anybody listening, if you're not a subscriber, this is the perfect time to join. We need to get locked in. We're getting this information. We need to get prepared because this is just the start of this. I think this she just announced today. We got to get over the hype, but we got a long way to go. So it's time to get locked in, subscribe, get into Tone Talks. These books that are being offered, pay attention. This is the time to get that information because you're going to need it in a minute. The second thing I want to shout you guys out. You guys have inspired me to do more things politically. I applied for a political leadership fellowship recently. I got accepted.
All right.
So I'm doing other things to educate myself. And you guys inspired that. You guys are part of that. Because earlier this year, you did your show about 2019, and somebody said, well, we need to start doing, what are we doing? Look, there are some of us out here doing other things. And we are getting involved. We are taking education seriously.
Yeah, I see that. I've communicated with some of y'all in my email. Like people are maneuvering and moving in their own communities. That's why when somebody said, "Well, what are y'all doing except talk?" I'm like, you don't see my email. Like it's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff. You just because you don't know them and just because you're not doing it, don't mean that the Breaking Brown family ain't doing it. Because I know they're doing it because I talk to them.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to give you guys that. You guys inspired that. You and Tone. Appreciate that. I'm moving forward. I'm getting myself ready because when this kicks off, we have to be ready, folks. Coming here and listening to Yvette and what they're doing is great. but we have to be ready to take it to the next level because she's going to be out here talking. We got to be able to combat these conversations. I mean, Tone said it earlier. I was just really just insulted for her to come out on MLK Day, go on Howard's campus, and then push this vanilla message that spoke nothing directly to us, nothing about our issues, something you've been saying all the time, politics is an exchange. Where was us in that conversation? You use this as a backdrop, and for whatever reason, we fall for it every time. When people try to push some agenda, particularly politicians, they find some black people to stand next to, and then use us as a backdrop, and then forget about us once they get where they're trying to go. And that's exactly what she did here. She's not even good at it.
No, she's awful at it. But next thing you know, she's gonna drag John Lewis next to her. She's gonna drag him over there, and they're gonna be he just stand next to anybody. Anybody Democratic Party tell him to stand next to, he stand next to. They're gonna grab him over there, and he gonna be like, I mean, but you're right. They just stand next to somebody, and just like that's just it. And we're supposed to just be like, well, I guess this is all right. You got all the right people. Come on, man.
Yeah, and I've been looking on my timeline and talking to people on social media, and people are falling for it. I know, I see the Breaking Bound community. I see some people pushing back. I saw Tone put his message out there, and people commented and agree with it. But I also see people jumped on the train already. Oh, that's my girl. I'm riding for her. Hadn't heard any policy, hadn't heard any agenda, and you already signed up. I mean, didn't you learn from the last time? Guys, this is the time that we really need to be paying attention to what's going on and combat this with facts and intelligent debate. Don't get caught up in the emotions. People gonna come at you and say, well, she black, you just hating on the black people. Don't get caught up in that. This is time to pull out those facts. We've been reading the books. We got the data. This is the time to respond with that information so you don't get drugged in the mud with these emotional conversations about supporting the black people. Now, if this was Stacey Abrams out here, I might have a different response. But we're talking about somebody that never had a black agenda.
Yeah, but if you can have a...
Go ahead, Yvette, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you, but you regardless of whether it's Abrams or whoever, like, you got to be able just to have a legitimate debate about these are my policy priorities. This is what I want. And okay, well, she doesn't have X or Y, and y'all can debate about that. There are no sacred cows, right? So like I don't call on people to just agree with me with it. No, you got to be able to debate it. You got to be able to tell me what, and then I be like, okay, I see where you're coming from or whatever. Like, but you got to be able to do it. You can't be out here and not do it though.
And here's the most important thing: you don't need anybody to tell you the issues that you're dealing with. Now, I live here in Detroit. Or the state of Michigan. Y'all know what's going on with Flint. For the people that live here in Detroit, we had a similar water problem with the school system where they found lead in the water in all the public schools. I have a mentee on the east side of Detroit. They barely have Wi-Fi in his school. I mean, he's 2 grades behind and he's struggling. They don't even have Wi-Fi materials. You don't need these politicians to tell you what's going on in your life.
You don't need these politicians to tell you. Now, is the border a problem in your life? When you travel, do you have a problem getting back into America if you travel? Is the border is immigration a problem in your life in terms of you going back and forth the borders? That's the way Negroes act like it. I'm just asking. Like, is that your main problem in your life?
Absolutely. We can't even send our children to a decent school here, and y'all over here debating about, the border wall. Like, no, that has nothing to do with your life. You know your issues, and that politician needs to speak to that, and you can politely remind them, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, what's your plan? They don't have one, you can move on. You do not need anybody to articulate what you're dealing with. You've been dealing with it your whole life. You can articulate it better than anybody. Don't let these people come to you and tell you what you need to be thinking about. You already know your issues.
Yeah, don't let them define
to meet you there. You can move on. And that's all. I'll leave you with that, Yvette. Great job.
Thank you.
I'm going to continue to be a subscriber.
Appreciate it,
you have a good night, and I love you, Breaking Brown fam.
Appreciate it, fam. And I want to thank you. I want to thank that brother for calling in. I think he's talking about the newsletter. The newsletter is $2 a month. The link is usually Bakara usually one of the best mods. Got so many good mods on here though. Puts it in the chat, and it just has links that are curated, because one of the things that I realize is that, like, people don't have time to like go through and find all the news information after you get home from work that is important to what you need to know every week. So the stuff I try to put in there is stuff that I think is important to the American DOS community and stuff that impacts you, because you have to have the information to be able to kind of go out into the world and do what the college just said do. You have to be able to have that. And if you don't have that, you know, there are a lot of people who have a lot more time than you do in terms of what they can do. You might not have it. So I do the newsletter just to give you, it's like usually like in between like 12 and 20 links that are just like stuff you need to know. It comes out every Sunday. So that's that, just so you know. All right, I'm gonna go to one last one, fam. I'm going to 404. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, how you doing? This is Michael from Atlanta.
Pretty good, Michael.
I just want to give a shout out to the Breaking Brown and Tone Talk family. Again, a lot of the callers have been following the social media, and really you can see the Breaking Brown and Tone Talks family in there, you know, having a discussion, pushing back against, you know, Senator Harris' announcement for president, and they're coming at them with facts, with data. Her agenda in California, her nonsense on American DOS issues, and just a blatant disregard, a disrespect for what as Tone said, for announcing at Howard University, again, where President Johnson gave that speech about what is owed to the American DOS community.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Breaking Brown, Tone Talks, to you and Tone, and to all the callers. I think we have to stay on our square, continue to push, and bring more people along. But, you know, we got what we got, but that's all we need.
I appreciate it, fam. That's I think you're right about it. We got what we need. You don't need a majority. You just need a critical mass. I say that all the time. You do not need a majority. You just need a critical mass. I was watching a movie on the way back from a flight, and the dude said, I can't remember, but the dude said something. He said, you know, I'm coming to take what's mine. He said, this is something to the face. He said, this is my lineage. This is my stuff right here. I got chills all over, because I was just thinking like people like, for years and generations, everybody's understood like the meaning of like lineage and what that's supposed to mean in terms of definition. I'm not you. I'm not a Dane or Danish. I'm this other thing. I'm this thing. Like everybody's understood it, and somehow like there has been this whole project. Well, let's keep the Negroes lost. Let's just make that whole thing about melanin. And so I think that what is happening right now is so critical, because what I see is how many of us are coming out of that. I don't think, I really see like there has, and I think, I always say how bad Obama has been for our community in terms of policies, but in terms of us kind of definitionally understanding ourselves, he has been very instructive. And we understand that like, no, I'm not you, Obama, and you're not me, and that's part of the problem of what happened. And so what we're doing and what we're engaging in now is redefining ourselves. Doesn't mean we'll only vote for American DOS, but it means if you're not us, even if you are us, but especially if you're not us, then just, you don't get to go to Howard University. You just get to give us your agenda and tell us what parts of that agenda are beneficial to us. And we have gotten in the business of, whether you like it or not, we are now in the business of assessing policies and assessing politics and assessing how good this is for us in our community. That's what everybody else has been doing a long time. We are not doing moral politics or moralizing anymore. We are going to make assessments. What does this do for my community? What policies do I need? Just like the caller said, you already know, or you should know what policies impact you and your community. So it's your job to go down that list, create that list, and go down that list and figure out and ask these politicians, which one of your policies will help me here? This is my list right here. Which one of your policies help me? And I think people are going to be in quite a pickle, because we're finally waking up. We've been asleep for a little while thinking we're going to go and we're going to dance like Diddy and we're going to be doing. No. we're at a different space and we're making different moves, and I don't think anybody's really prepared for that. So I think we just got to stay on the gate we got. We just got to stay on the gate we got, because, ladies and gentlemen, we got a good gate going on. We just got to stay on. We just got to stay where we are. So before I go, though, I just want to remind everybody. Let me pull this up really quick. March the 21st. That's a Thursday. American Slavery, American Freedom by Edmund S. Morgan. If you don't have the book, pick it up or get copies from a friend who got the book, or a member of the Breaking Brown family. However, whatever's going on, I don't make no judgments. I'm just saying we're going to read this book. We're going to have a book club meeting on the 21st, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a Thursday, of kind of about how slavery built freedom. Like, it wasn't just like, well, you just didn't understand. It was just the first curse or whatever, the blemish and no, it was real kind of intentional. So we're gonna have that conversation in March 21st. So you got time. You got plenty of time. So Breaking Brown family, before you go, please like the show. Please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, please share. Please hit that bell so that you get notifications when it's time to go on. You can always go to donatebrown.com, subscribe to brown.com as well to just add your name to the email list. Patreon.com/ycarnell. Thank you to the people who donated tonight. I didn't get to all of it because I be gone and I be talking my little bullet points. But I appreciate everything. It doesn't mean I didn't see it. I just didn't see it in time to get a name and shout you out. So I thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And until next time, until we have our next conversation here, be easy, finish your libations, take your time, and we working, family, we working. I'll see you next time.